Mangwana ni Malelepo Vukenjani Class Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Mbedi. These are some of the stories that we are looking at. Visa integrity fee from the USA hits African travelers hard. Congo and M23 rebels set peace deal deadline in Qatar. Rwandan opposition leader Victoire Ingabire has been denied bail yet again. We'll also be talking to Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report, including a huge marijuana seizure in that country. And of course, in sport, we're going to be highlighting the winner of the Africa Cup, the Rugby Africa Cup, we just got completed in Kampala. This is Africa Good Morning, ready to bring you fresh news from the continent and beyond. My name is Ashwin Mbedi. Top stories after the break.
Irongo Med is a leading distributor, working in partnership with NewMed and WestMed to meet the comprehensive needs of the Namibian healthcare sector. As a partner pursuing sustainable global healthcare, we offer industry-leading medical solutions through our key focus areas, which include pharmaceuticals, orthopedics, ophthalmology, surgical devices and capital equipment, as well as a well-established scientific laboratory division. In healthcare, Irongo Med is committed to making a difference. What about you?
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
This is Africa Good Morning, and these are top stories. A new $250 visa integrity fee introduced by the US is set to make travel significantly costlier for African visitors. Enacted under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025, this fee applies non-immigrant visa applications from African nations, including students, tourists, and professionals. The fee is a non-waivable and charged in addition to existing visa application costs, potentially raising total expenses to over $500. The US claims the funds will go to the Treasury, but there's no assurance they'll be used to improve consular services. The move comes ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Summer Olympics, possibly deterring international attendance, especially from Africa. Meanwhile, citizens from 42 mostly Western nations remain exempt under the U.S. visa waiver program. Critics, including Geoff Freeman of the U.S. Travel Association, argue the policy sends a discouraging message to African travelers. For many on the continent, the fee is both a financial burden and a symbolic wall, undermining hopes of mobility and inclusion in an increasingly interconnected world. A peace agreement by August 18 is what is expected from the Congo and M23 following a declaration of principles signed in Doha, Qatar. The deal, reached after months of Qatari mediation, follows a surprise meeting between Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwanda's Paul Kagame in March. Talks have been pressured by the U.S., with President Trump linking the peace push to potential Western investment in Congo's vast mineral reserves. While both parties agreed to restore state authority across national territories, critical issues remain unresolved, such as M23 prisoner releases and reopening banks in rebel-held areas. Rwanda continues to deny backing M23, while Congo insists on a non-negotiable rebel withdrawal. The declaration avoids direct confrontation on these points, merely setting the stage for further talks starting no later than August 8. Qatar's foreign minister praised the agreement as a turning point. However, deep mistrust persists, with the specter of displacement and regional conflict still looming large over North and South Kivu provinces. Victoire Ingabire, a long-time opposition figure in Rwanda, has been denied bail by the Kicukiro Primary Court, which cited risk of flight and interference in an ongoing investigation. Ingabire faces 6 charges, including spreading hate speech and forming an illegal group. The case stems from a 2021 political training session where her supporters allegedly discussed a book titled How to Topple a Dictator When You're Alone, Small and Unarmed. She denies the charges and claims they are politically motivated. Known for being one of the few critics of President Paul Kagame to remain active within Rwanda, Ingabire was previously jailed in 2010 and released in 2018 under presidential pardon. Her current detention has sparked renewed concern from rights groups about Rwanda's shrinking space for dissent. The court's decision keeps her in pre-trial detention as the investigation continues. Her next court appearance is scheduled for July for later in July, keeping her in legal limbo amid raising scrutiny over the government's treatment of political opponents. Now, Burkina Faso's military government has scrapped the country's independent National Electoral Commission, citing excessive costs and a desire to limit foreign influence. According to Minister of Territorial Administration Emile Zebo, the move aims to streamline the electoral process under state control. The dissolved commission was reportedly receiving annual subsidies of around $870,000 since taking power in the 2022 coup. Captain Ibrahim Traore's junta has delayed elections and extended the transition period to July 2029, effectively allowing Traore to remain in power and contest future presidential elections. The government now intends for the Interior Ministry to oversee all future electoral processes. Critics argue this undermines electoral independence, but the junta defends the dissolution as a cost-saving measure aligned with broader reforms. With democratic processes on hold and civilian rule postponed, the disbanding of the commission marks another step in the junta's consolidation of power. Observers warn it may reduce electoral transparency and sideline efforts to return the country to democratic governance in the near future. Moving on. Cameroon's 92-year-old President Paul Biya has taken to social media in an attempt to court young voters ahead of the October election, but the strategy is drawing more skepticism than support. With over 60% of Cameroon's population under 25, Biya's digital campaign, marked by daily posts on Facebook and X, seems poorly targeted. Experts say his content lacks interactivity, regional nuance, and authenticity. Analysts note that many young people rely on WhatsApp, a platform barely touched by Biya's team. Instead of addressing pressing youth issues like unemployment, corruption, and insecurity, the campaign has focused on excerpts from Biya's old speeches. Critics describe the strategy as cosmetic, with political communications seen more as marketing than meaningful engagement. Despite the effort being an upgrade from previous radio silence, many believe it's too little, too late. Comments on his posts range from sarcastic to outright dismissive. For Biya, who's ruled since 1982, the digital outreach may appear modern, but to many young Cameroonians, it fails to offer substance, hope, or what they consider real change. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Shortly, we're going to be talking to Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report. But prior to that, we're going to have a look at the weather. It's time for us to talk to Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report. Mike Udiwanji.
Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. Now, over 120 tons of marijuana have been seized in Kafue and 4 people have been arrested.
Yes, so the Drug Enforcement Commission has since picked up 4 individuals suspected to be involved in the cultivation and processing of marijuana in Chifwema area of Kafue district. So the area, according to Commissioner Assistant Public Relations Officer, Mr. Sidney Katongo, covers almost 45 farms. And when they conducted an aerial assessment of the extent of the cultivation of this marijuana, they established that their estimations is they are expected to remove about 121 tons of cannabis from the area. So this is one of the biggest seizures of cultivation of marijuana by the Drug Enforcement Commission in Zambia. However, the government recently passed a law that allows for the cultivation of marijuana, but this is supposed to be for medicinal purposes. And the commercialization of the cultivation of marijuana has since not been fully actualized by the Zambian government. According to latest information that was availed to the public, the cultivation was supposed to be undertaken in government farms by one of the security agencies of the Zambian government. So this seizure, a number of people, when they went on social media, they thought, why should the government not just take this marijuana for medicinal purposes and like destroying it? But the Drug Enforcement Commission has not responded to such comments.
Well, I believe there have been similar sentiments when seizures have happened in Namibia, and part of the considerations are that countries like Malawi and Zimbabwe and South Africa have already entered the legal marijuana market and are currently making some sizable amounts from that. But of course, each country with its own laws. Mike, we move on to the next story. The Electoral Authority has banned the use of campaign materials from non-contesting parties. Why was this necessary?
Well, this has caught the nation by surprise, especially those involved in the political arena. However, in 2016, the Zambian government, when they were formulating the constitutional reforms, this law was included in the constitution because it happened at the time when the UPND were in opposition, and there used to be political schemes where political parties would use youths to disguise themselves in a regalia of opponent political parties and cause acts of violence. So as a way of preventing this impersonation, that law was formulated and enshrined in the Zambian constitution. However, the PF administration did not apply it because it was difficult. But now, under the current administration, the UPND, this law, according to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they have said it must be applied, and it has taken effect from the ongoing parliamentary by-elections in Mfue constituency, where the Electoral Commission of boss, Madam Mwangala Zalomes, has since warned that anyone that will be found using regalia of the Patriotic Front in Mfue will be fined and the offense will attract a 2-year jail term. So this has attracted divided reactions from the Patriotic Front and other members of the civil society movement. But the Electoral Commission of Zambia has insisted that since the Patriotic Front is not taking part in the Mfue by-elections, they must not be anywhere near the by-elections, even if the Patriotic Front are in alliance with other political parties and they are supporting a candidate in the ongoing parliamentary by-elections.
All right, Mr. Sichula, let's move on to your next story. Zambia has secured $240 million in global SME deals through a UN-backed initiative.
Yes, so the International Trade Center of the United Nations will support 58,000 Zambians involved in the micro, small, and medium enterprises, helping them to generate close to 240 million United States dollars business deals globally. So this was reviewed at the just ended Invest in Zambia conference in Lusaka, and ICT Executive Director Pamela Harrington praised Zambia for recognizing small and medium enterprises as key drivers of economic development. She stated that ICT will continue supporting Zambians in small business personnel in digital financial solutions and applying innovative agricultural techniques to migrate the impact of climate change. So it's something that the Zambian government is hopeful that will contribute to the growth of the informal sector by having access to finance, which has been something that has been affecting most small business and medium enterprises to get access to finance, and especially cheap finance that can help boost their trade.
Now Zambia is targeting 3 million tourists by 2026.
Yes. So again, during the same forum, Zambia Tourism Agency Chief Executive Officer Matongo Mwata Mwandi said Zambia has recorded between 1 to 2.1 million tourist arrivals annually over the past 3 years. So to reach this target, the Zambia Tourism Agency has since developed a new marketing strategy, which includes a partnership with a BBC satellite television platform. He said the campaign will showcase destinations such as Kasanka National Park, which is home to the world's largest bat migration, and the Victoria Falls, among others. So this partnership is one of the lucrative the Zambia Tourism Agency has signed with a global media institution such as the BBC, and it is hoped that this partnership will create a good visibility for Zambia tourism destinations to attract that number of tourists that the agency wants to achieve of about 3 million tourists annually.
And finally, Mike, Nigeria eliminated Zambia in the WAFCON quarterfinals.
Wow, that was quite a match that the Copper Queens played, and a lot of Zambians expected the Copper Queens to perform better, considering that during the 2022 WAFCON, when the likes of Barbara Banda and Kundananji were not in that team, Zambia beat Nigeria 1-0 to claim bronze at that tournament. So going into this match on Friday, a number of people were expecting that with Barbara Banda and Kundananji in the team, Zambia was going to emerge victorious. However, it was a sad outcome by the Copper Queens, going down to Nigeria by 5-0 and dashing their hopes of winning this year's WAFCON. However, Barbara Banda and Kundananji, after the match, spoke that despite losing, the team will go back to the drawing board to ensure that they bounce back the 2026 WAFCON with the aim of winning the tournament and qualifying to the World Cup. Also, a number of soccer fans are not happy with the comment made by Coach Nora, who said that in Zambia, the talent pool is limited as compared to a nation like Nigeria, which has a population of over 200 million people. So that comment, a number of fans are saying Coach Nora needed not to react in such a manner, but should have just accepted that her tactics did not manage to impose a dominance on the Nigerians, who appeared to be more composed and more and deserved to win that match, going by the tactics that they applied against our tactics.
All right, Mike, we'll get it right next time. Thank you very much for bringing us the Zambia report.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. However, also a number of Zambians are saying since Zambia for the 2026 WAFCON will be meeting Namibia, they are expecting that they want to carry the day because they don't expect Namibia to beat Zambia. But we'll wait and see. Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
We'll definitely see about that, Mike. And then we're going to swing into another African sports story. Zimbabwe stunned African rugby by qualifying for the Rugby World Cup for the first time since 1991 after defeating Namibia 30-28 in a dramatic Africa Cup final in Kampala. The Sables led 30-16 before a late Namibian surge closed the gap. A missed long-range penalty in the final moments sealed Zimbabwe's historic win, only their fourth victory over Namibia in 35 meetings. With this triumph, Zimbabwe joined South Africa as Africa's second team in the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. Namibia, a consistent World Cup participant, now faces a playoff against the United Arab Emirates to keep its qualification hopes alive. Zimbabwe also won the Rugby Africa Cup in 2024 and now ranks 24th in the world, leapfrogging Namibia, which has fallen to 27th. This victory marks a turning point for Zimbabwean rugby and injects renewed excitement into a national team often overshadowed by regional rivals. Those have been our stories on Africa Good Morning. Let's have a look at the economic indicators before we say goodbye. If you want to check out the episode again, go to oneup2.com, spell it out, ONETWO.com. Click Echo, and you can have access to this and all other Africa Good Morning episodes. So you make sure you check us out on Echo, where prime time is anytime. But for me, for now, Africa Good Morning. Can't wait to see you tomorrow as we dig into the latest stories stemming from Zimbabwe and, of course, the latest from broader Africa. Swera Jaganaka.